So one of the things that I want to say to you is money makes the world go round, the world go round, the world go round. Money makes the world go round. Of that I'm very sure. Now, what happens sometimes when your world isn't going around so it feels good, it's money. Don't have enough. I don't have enough money. Don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. And that goes through your head. I don't have enough money for this bill. I don't have enough money for this outfit. I don't have enough money for this. He doesn't have enough money. I'm not going to marry that person. They don't have enough money. But parents didn't have enough money. And it comes from a very, very long time ago about money, what we were taught about money. And other than sex, don't you love that word, sex? Money is usually our most difficult issue because of the fact we say that we want abundance. I changed the title today, so welcome to money, wealth, abundance, and loose change. Have any of you ever gone in your pocket to pay for something and you just had loose change? Yeah. Or you go into your bank and go, I really want that. How much more money do I have? Well, that is a little kid's way of dealing with money. And we're big kids. And so when we have a money jar that we go into, or we have our secret money, which we're not going to spend on anything, to go pay for something that we really need, it means that our attitudes and our planning and our resources don't fit our need. Now, is that 100% of the time? It is not. We go through cycles and stuff. When my client sends me, several $1,000s because I'm going to go work with him in Chicago or New York or whatever, and we're just starting the program, and it's going to be a $100,000 project, and it's 2 years in the making, and whatever, and you get that first deposit check, it's like, yeah, baby. But as a self-employed woman, most of the time what I'm doing is I'm going back and catching up some of the things that I didn't quite get into savings, or I want to put a little bit more money here because it is rhythmic. Even if you get a weekly paycheck and you know exactly what that's going to be, it still isn't, it could be your EKG could be going, rather than, and just nice and smooth. Now there's some people that we know that handle money beautifully. And let's go find them right now, and we couldn't even fill the room. We couldn't. Because there aren't that many of us that handle money in a joyful, beautiful way that we really, really like, and we go, yes, I just love that mortgage payment kind of thing, Or my car payment, thank you so much for my beautiful car and that payment. So we're always sort of resisting. It's always kind of like a paper cut. And sometimes it's a real big paper cut and it bleeds and things. And then what happens to that is that's how our whole life is based. There's the EFT schematic right there. What you're doing right now and who you are is based on your mindset, your beliefs, and your resistance. Not your receiving, and not your openness, and not your love, and not your graciousness, and not your gratitude. It is based on resistance. Mindset, beliefs, and resistance. So, let's do a short review on that, and this is good for people who don't have any idea what EFT, emotional freedom techniques, also called tapping. That's the street name for it, tapping. It's tapping because we tap different energy parts of our body. When you're 0 to 6 and 7, but mostly around 3 years old, you really become aware of what's there around you. You're really, really kind of little. You can feel hunger. Oh, boy, lunch is late. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, where's my cookie? Mom, can I have that? Kind of thing. And you begin to get the feedback of we can't afford that. Not now, I don't have enough money in my pocket. And you can hear people at the dining room table or be in the office and say, how are we going to pay that? And that is what you hear. You have no decision-making power. You make no meals. You earn no money. You have no job, except to be this thing that consumes all the time. So you think sometimes maybe that's why parents get a little bit annoyed at their children and get frustrated with being a parent, because all these children are is consumers. So imagine yourself as a total consumer. You didn't contribute anything. You used diapers and washing machine stuff and everything else, and your parents are dealing with you, and then you got the uncles and the aunts and the nuns at school and all the rest of that. And from 3 to 7 years old, your brain is a sponge. That's all you're doing, is you're just attracting all of this stuff. And who's ever teaching you this is what you're developing your life. And here's your benchmark. At 7, you start, you've been in school, maybe preschool, maybe some kindergarten and stuff, and you're starting to maybe have an opinion that, oh, I'll be a fireman, and oh, I'll be a nurse, or oh, I'm going to be a financial analyst. Because those are some of the things that you've learned, or you read a book, or whatever else. But between 0 and right around here, you really are just a consumer, and a whiny, wet consumer at that. So when you think about your own children, if you have children, or if you've been around children, they are whiny, wet consumers, and you're in training then. And you're training to really understand the word no, and it's not enough, and not now. Because it just comes right back out of your mouth. No, it's not enough, not right now. Even if you had enough money, it would be no, not enough, not right now. Because as the parent or the people or the foster people who are taking care of you, that's what they're doing. They're preparing the ways. They're sort of shoveling the snow out of the way. They really, really don't know what's going to happen next. There's no book. There's no training. And here's your child. And they go, oh, well, here is an obstacle. I'll move that obstacle. And the children follow along. And your childhood, are watching all these actions. And these are the actions that are so provocative that we believe are real. This is how you do it. And that is CRAP. Because you spend your entire life seeing what you know, learning what you learn, to unlearn so you can have the life that's most important to you. And that's your mindset, your beliefs, and your resistance. I give you an example. And all of these little marks right here, this is when you're, 16, and then this is 45, and it's whatever. And whatever you learned here is how you see the world. Unless you change your mindset and your beliefs. Unless you change your mindset and your beliefs. You don't even know you have these mindset of beliefs until you understand. You come to something like this, or you read a book. Or I remember the first time I met Wayne Dyer. He said, there's, people have resistance to receiving money. And I went, really? I don't. I have no resistance to receiving money. It's the silliest thing I ever heard in my entire life. I had a poverty mindset because I wasn't wanted as a child. I was a girl in my family, and I was the last one in the family, and it was by rank. And so I was never first in line. All I saw was the tail end of no. Not now, we're not ready. And then we would go to all these different countries. They'd give you shots. I remember being chased by a huge African-American nurse to give me a shot. And she dragged me from under the table to give me a shot. And do you think I'm a little scared of shots? Dude, I'm terrified of them. Because that is in my mindset of what happens when you get a shot. Remember, this is a sponge brain right here, just taking it all in, not having any thoughts of your own. So now, when you get to something, you go, I don't think so. When you get to a resistance point, ask why. Or say, what else is possible? I wonder what else is possible, other than saying, no, you're an idiot. I wonder what else is possible. But we don't even sit there. We don't sit there because that's our life and that's how it's always been. And that's why tapping is so extraordinary. It's just extraordinary because it lets you find out where you have this resistance. I had a resistance to money. And I still find little pieces showing up and stuff. But let me tell you about what I did yesterday. I met with someone who is a director of a clinic. Male. Probably, 53, 54 years old. Got all kinds of degrees. Name comma, by well known, really very effective, and we started talking about money for the project. And it turned very sour very quickly. Now, not his money, it's the clinic's money, and he's running the clinic. So what we did is we spent the second half of our discussion with me doing tapping with him. And his issue was there's never enough money coming from being 6 years old and living in basements with his mom because they were so poor, finding a bicycle that he coveted, getting a new stepfather who beat him and sexually abused him, and riding away on that bicycle to something new at 6 years old. This is the guy who's running the clinic. He didn't even know it. He said, Natalie, this is absolutely amazing. Well, and he also is very spiritual and a clinician that was open to hearing this stuff. And I said, I think you've said you want to work with me, and I think that's really wonderful, but I'm hearing a real resistance to money. Is it not in the budget? He said, no, it's in the budget. But I don't know. I'm always worried, is there going to be enough? Oh, that was my clue. Because as soon as I hear that, it might not be enough. I know as a gardener, there's always enough dirt, enough leaves. If you're raking now, you know there are enough leaves. Right? A little bit of raking out there. There's always enough sand, because if you sit on the sand, you get it in your bum, and you're wiping that sand out for like 3 days, right? There's always enough sand. Why wouldn't there be enough money? Why would there, be enough corn or enough soy or enough paint or enough tables and not be enough money? So until I started getting into that intellectual way of asking those questions, my mindset was there isn't enough for me. There isn't enough here. There isn't enough ever. And he is running a clinic, limping along, not in this wonderful circle, in his own beliefs and mindsets. Imagine him making the decisions for the clinic. You might say, well, he's very conservative in how he's budgeting. Well, that's great, except for the fact that, what about we take that budgeting conservative stuff on, and what about the vision and mission for the clinic? He can't see all of it because he is sexually abused at 6 years old, and it wasn't enough, and they were living in basements, and he lost his dad, and he rode on a blue bike to get as far away as he could at 6 years old. Stunning. You all have that. You all have that right here. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It doesn't have to be sexual abuse. It doesn't have to be basements. I illustrate that as a profound example because of the fact that a lot of us are wandering around with that kind of stuff. But I remember never enough in my brain almost my whole entire life, adult life. Never enough, never enough. And I worked on this, and one day I woke up and I didn't hear it. You're not enough. It isn't enough. And there was this space in my head, and I thought, wow. That's the other issue. So what do you do with the space now that you've found who you really are and what you're capable of? Because you're all really quite brilliant. If there's enough sand, there's enough money. If there's enough dirt and enough leaves, there's enough money. There's enough money for you. There's more than enough money for you. So what I'd like to do is find my marker, and I want you to just think, just for a second, what are the things that did you hear between 0 and 6 and 7, or what do you believe now about money? What do you believe about money? Payday. What do you believe about money? Inheritance. What do you believe about money? I had a client that I dealt with that used to say, could my mother just die, please, so I could have the money?
And that's not unusual.
And it is not unusual because the woman was in assisted living, paying $4,000 to $5,000 a month, and was and had no life. Imagine the guilt. I've been there as a caregiver. You know what, Lord? Really seriously. Give me the money. Give me the money. It's like I don't get into politics at all. I use this as an example. Taxing the rich. There are a lot of people, he's tax those sons of a guns. They've got all that money. Well, you know what? They've got all that money for a reason. Maybe they stole it, but most of the time they haven't stolen it. They've gotten it through whatever. But they still have poverty mindsets. It's not enough. I need this. I need more of that. I want more of that. Maybe their relationships are a mess. Money is a place that is so difficult for us sometimes because of the fact of who taught us about money and what we heard. Now, I can almost guarantee you that no parent came out and said, there's never enough money and don't you ever forget it. But they may have said, like my mom, 1 trillion times, we are very frugal. We never have debt. We only ever pay cash. Well, when that's resounding in your head, and this is not really a cash society, and you become an entrepreneur and you have to have credit lines, you can imagine the dismay I had about being disloyal to what I learned and all that resistance. So when I got my first credit line, I was like, whatever. I felt so guilty, and my mom in my head going, no, you don't do that. Well, in your business, yes, you do. ETSU's got a huge credit line, trust me. It's also called budgets. It's a way that you operate. Single entry bookkeeping, my mom, you do it, you have $1. She did the envelope system, and that's what I learned. And as an entrepreneur and an international speaker, it didn't work, but dadgummit, it was hard to figure out why I was so resistant until I understood what I knew. So what did you learn about money?
Save for a rainy day.
Save for a rainy day. Did you ever ask what you're going to do with it on a rainy day? No. You just save for it. Dadgummit, you better. What else?
If you don't have it, don't spend it.
Ah. Now, you know what? That really seems like a really good idea. If you don't have it, don't spend it. Except, how would any business or any university or any family or anything else get a car, get a home, get an education, get and budget and do all the? How would you do that? So there's a way of handling finances that if you don't have it, you have a vision, you have a mission, you have a sales process around it, you have people in place, you have all that. But when you hear, don't spend it unless you have it. That's a rule. That's like a commandment. That's like God coming down and going, don't you do that. Because remember, you're at the tail end watching these people do what they're doing. What else? How about that root of all evil thing? Ooh. Money is the root of all evil. And I can tell you that's only in a candy store. Okay, ice cream. Maybe bagels too, but whatever. Money is the root of all evil. That I've heard said many in this very Christian area, and talking about money and sin and everything else, that it's the root of all evil, except for the fact that that's not the correct quote. Much said about money is if money is only what you're looking at, it is the root of all evil. Not being grateful and not having love and not taking care of your family. What else?
In my household, there were things like you need to give back.
Give back?
And you need to tithe first.
Say the second one, Harriet.
And you tithe. Tithe first, give back, and tithe first.
Yep. Because if you don't give, you're not going to get. If you don't give, you're not going to get. If you don't give, you're not going to get. Really? What if you gave to yourself? What if you were the tithe for the next year for yourself? What does that bring up? Huh? You allowed to tithe yourself? Almost every person I've ever talked to said no. Why? Well, it's got to be somebody who needs it. Okay, is there anybody in here who doesn't need it? I'm not talking about being self-indulgent. I'm talking about if you're tithing to your church or you're tithing, whatever you're tithing to, What if you chose yourself for the next quarter to tithe in the rhythmic way because of the fact that there are certain things that you would need or like? Would suppose that you love yourself enough to do that. When you give back and tithe, the church is pretty powerful. Or Heifer International or United Way or whatever else. Are you worth it? Not enough. I'm not enough. It's not enough. I couldn't tithe to myself. Now, I know some ministers say it again, Pat.
We do through retirement. If we have a retirement fund, isn't that like retithing to ourselves for something?
Sure. I mean, you can call it that if you want to. And there's the Christmas Club and there's all those different things. But are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it? I think that we should come first. I'm this very spiritual person that says in this clear, small voice inside of me that that's where God resides. It took me a long time to understand that everything that has been said in all the different religions and all the books and everything else is that I am the vessel for that. And I take that. So if I really do, in a conscious way, Pat, I think that that's a very good point. So retirement could be a way of taking care of yourself.
No, this wasn't said in my household, but I heard someone say one time, pay yourself first.
Pay yourself first. Well, I'll tell you that all of...
Which could be a savings account, although I don't advocate that this day and time. If you want interest on your money, that's, but they listen, at least it's money. And it's somewhere safe and I can't get to it because I don't have it tied to my checking account. I have enough sense to know not to do that.
Listen to that. Listen to all that about money. But there's not enough in a savings account, but it's worth it. So do you have a whole program of buying things that'll give you more than 1% or 0.5%? Saving and tithing for yourself.
Yeah.
Good, because most people don't.
Yeah.
Now, when you're in an organization that will take it out of your paycheck for you, yes, then that's very helpful.
That's a real beauty.
Okay, that's beauty right there. If you had to take it out of your paycheck for you, would you?
Yes.
Okay.
And but not as regularly as the other.
Okay, so, and why not?
Things come up.
Yeah.
And even if things don't come up, there's just stuff out there that you want.
Yeah.
I mean, I pretty much, I try not to want as much, and I don't want as much as I used to.
Why aren't you allowed to want it and buy it?
I think you are.
Yeah.
I think you are. I just don't do it as much as I used to. I just don't have the energy to do it, which is probably a good thing for my checkbook and my pocketbook.
Right. So there's a time when there's money and you're allowed to go spend it because it's in your pocket, and there's time when you have money and you're not allowed to spend it. My premise is when you're not allowed to spend it, it comes from how you were taught. Now, if you're putting money away and doing well with your money, that's absolutely great. If you're not doing well with your money, you probably have this training here somewhere in your mindset as this wet consumer that you weren't worth it. You took too much effort, too much time, and what your parents did. Now, if you have adopted how your parents save, and they were good savers, I never adopted how my parents saved because of the fact they complained about it all the time. Never, ever, ever was there enough money. And they had AAA credit. And they were amazingly afraid about their money. They were never confident that there was enough. So there wasn't like, look at this. My dad's name was Justy. Look at this. Look at what we have done. Being as afraid as we have been. And what we've done. And our home and our children's college and everything. We should be so proud of that. Look at what we have done. Never. Never.
Your parents must have grown up during the Depression.
I was just going to say
As
that.
mine
You've
did.
got to look at the generational situation.
I don't really think it's that.
Because my grandparents and my parents were that way.
I don't really think it's that. I think it's the legacy of how we're taught. What's going to happen with this great recession? What are you talking about at home? What are you telling your kids and grandkids and siblings and everything else? What legacy are you giving to people about money? Not enough. And you're just as guilty as the parents because of the fact of wherever you got it, whether there's a Great Depression or if more millionaires were built during the Great Depression than any other time. So you can use recession, depression, my parents, but it is a circumstance of how you learned and what your mindset is. Sounds like I'm picking on you. I'm not. I'm telling you right now, you can do whatever you want to do because you're brilliant. There's that still small voice inside of you. But what you have here is mindset, beliefs, and resistance. You have a resistance to receiving what is yours. Can you tithe to yourself? Yeah, baby. Now, do you want to tithe to yourself with, a 4-pound bag of orange slices every day? I'm in that line, by the way. There's a lot of different ways you can tithe to yourself. But what if somebody else doesn't get some of that? What if you chose yourself first? Oh my, you selfish thing. Women are so selfish. They're so self-centered. You women are so self-centered. You think of yourself first. If you don't take care of yourself, how do you take care of others? And don't we spend a lot of time in resistance, betrayal, abandonment, and resentment because of the fact that we take care of so many other people and we don't get it back? So what if you marched out into the center of your circle where you are in your family, in your life, and went burp, and you took care of you first? Bet you couldn't do it. And the reason you can't is you're afraid you're going to be criticized. Or somebody wouldn't get something, or you're going to be selfish. Somebody's going to say, you're selfish. Right, I am. You're self-centered. Yeah, I got it. Took me my whole life to get this. I cannot give in the way that water pours into a cup with ease and flow and clarity if I am mad, poor, lost, abandoned, anger, full of resentment, and my favorite one, judgment. I came from a family of judging everything. You would never be in my family because you're not good enough to be in my family. Talk about building a wall here of you're never going to make it in my family because you're not good enough. You didn't have the standards to be in that family. Well, I didn't either. I mean, they had all of these different standards. There was nobody in my family that met them. So we advocated them at the dinner table. Integrity and no judgment and trusting people and loving them. And, it was not happening in my family. But it took me my whole life to get that judgment condemning you for your blouse or your hair or whatever else it was, separated you from me and made me feel powerful in a way that I didn't know was detrimental to me. Loss of intimacy. Loss of intimacy. Conditional love. It's a huge thing, and it's all connected to not enough, which is usually connected to the very beginning of not enough money. Money, abundance, those kinds of things. Is there hope? Oh yeah, baby, there is. And it's in tapping as far as I'm concerned. As I've said before, it didn't change my life, it saved my life. EFT, tapping, emotional freedom techniques, saved my life because it moved me out of this judgmental, here's not enough, to, whoa, there is enough. There is enough. And I want some of it. I wonder how I can participate in that. And that's what helped me. It made me kinder, it made me sweeter, it made me more compassionate, it made me more tender with you and also with myself. Because I used to beat the crap out of myself every day, every morning. Produced one book, co-authored one book, had to have two. Co-authored 2 books, now I have co-authored 5 books. Still wasn't enough. Why? Because it didn't magically produce stuff that I thought it should magically produce. And it couldn't, because I could not receive the beautiful abundance that's going on in the world, because it was like, yeah, give me some. I'll take it. Right. I'd love that. And that's where you are too, in many of these things, and especially about money, because money, if it is the root of all evil, isn't that a funny thing for a little 3-year-old to know? Or 2-year-old? Or 6-year-old? I have a neighbor who's got a 6-year-old daughter that can't share anything. And I'm absolutely positive it's because of the grandmother. I don't know that for sure. But I'm absolutely positive it is, because the grandmother can share anything. And they are very close. I've just viewed it. That's all. And I'm alert to it. So, what do I have for you? I have money for you. Can you receive it? I have $600 for you. Look at, she already had her hand out. I love that. Give me that. I have $600 for you. Can you receive this? What are you going to do? What do you think about what you're going to do with it? Yeah, $600. She said, well, no. What makes you think this may be not really real money, huh? $600. I like that, huh? There's your $600. Yeah. Nancy, huh?
I'm going to Kohl's.
Yeah. I like Kohl's. You want two? All right, you can have two. See, Pat's been in enough of my seminars that when I hand out something,
What do I have to do for it?
here you go. I don't know. What do you have to do for it?
I don't know. Except you. You're the one with the money.
What did you have to do to get your $600? Okay, I think all you have to do is put out your hand.
Okay. She's not extending it.
We don't have to do any more of the class. That's exactly the. Did you actually? What do you think I'm going to make you do for your $600?
I have no idea. There's always a catch.
Never, not with me.
Well, that's my mindset.
Yeah.
You don't get something for nothing.
It's too good to be
That's the
true,
way
that's
I
probably
was.
not.
Yeah. That's the way I was raised.
Yeah.
Well, that I don't actually care.
Well, I'm going to Kohl's.
I actually don't care. I mean, does that work for you?
Well, hasn't really.
No. Okay. So then I don't really care if that's the way you were raised or not. Today is the day to say that I'm taking how I was raised, and no disrespect to how you were raised. The question is that working for you? Or how is that working for you? And if you're saying it's not working for you, give me it back. Would you like some?
If there's no catch.
No. Do it as a new person. Do it as you rather than your parents. Would you like some?
Erase the mindset.
Yeah.
Would I like some? Oh, yes.
Lovely. Would you like more than one?
Several.
Okay, several. How many is several to you?
7.
So I don't know if I have 7 left, but if I do, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are you feeling that?
Johnson City Mall.
Look at this. Listen to that sigh. So you're vibrating between, where you've been and where you are right now. So 7 times 6 is what?
4,200.
Yeah. You have $4,200.
I could get another vehicle and trade in my car.
Yeah. So what's the? No, she's
It's getting a little warm with excitement. Woo!
you're. I don't remember your first name.
Cheryl.
Cheryl, you're the exact example of what I'm talking about. Is that your body started to heat up because you're moving away from what you know to trusting me, and you don't know, Cheryl, if you want to trust me or not. There could be a hitch here or whatever else. First of all, your mouth's going a little bit dry, or the whole thing. I mean, this is really a reaction to $4,200 worth of paper money. All of you have this, and that's why tapping is important. Thank you very much for letting me use you as an example. There is no catch. None. The only thing that I would like you to do, and everybody in the room to do, is to participate in the tapping around money. That's all I want you to do. If you don't want to do that because you think, oh, well, there's the catch, you can have that attitude and miss the whole point, or you can take a deep breath and relax. Now, Pat has been in many of my seminars. Will I take good care of her?
Sure will.
Yeah. Is there a catch, Pat?
No, I haven't found one.
Yeah. So you have nothing I want except being in relationship with you. You have nothing that will make me feel powerful. You have nothing that will make me feel like when all this is over, I can walk out, well, I did that to Cheryl. Man, she'll never forget that. You don't have anything there. There's nothing in there for me. It took me a long time to get there. But it's a very joyful and very wonderful place to be. But understand how you are right now. Your mouth is drying up, you're heated up, and you've got $4,200. You knew exactly what you were going to do with it. This is a very, very, very nice example. This is pretty nerve-wracking right now. If you could just give a nice little applause. So, EFT. Emotional freedom technique. If you pass it out, there's a front and a back. If you just follow along on the back, if you have not gone to my website or don't know anything about it, there are areas of your body. It's from the ancient acupuncture points on the body. We start with what we call the karate chop area. You can use either hand, either way. It is this side right here. You might want to move your sweater down a little bit. Yeah, that'd be great. Either way, either side. You can crow it in your hand. You can do it like this, whatever you want. This is where we're doing it. Just whatever most comfortable. Excellent. Okay. We're going to do that, and then we're going to do what we call 3 setups phrases, okay? And then we're going to tap, and you're going to tap on your eyebrow. You're going to tap on the side of your eye. You're going to tap under your eye. You're going to tap under your nose. You're going to tap on your chin. You're going to tap on your collarbone. If you're a guy, you think your collarbone's over here or down here. Collarbone is here. I have no idea why, and they laugh that too. They're all like, where's my collarbone thing? Collarbone right here. It's also the place on your chest that's most sore, okay? Under your arm, you can cross if you want to, or you can do it like this underneath, and then top of your head, like that. Now, you have your crown chakra up there, so instead of using your fingers to do it, if you just pat like that, and don't beat it, because that's where all of your intelligence comes in and goes to your heart, and it doesn't like it. It's like, will you knock it off? So tapping says, 5 to 6, don't count them. If you're a counter, don't count it. Just stay with me and do it. If you close your eyes when you do it, and you open your eyes and we're in a different spot, don't go to the spot we are. Just stay where you are. It's just going to work really, really great and everything. When we did relationships last time, we had Marie standing up here, and she had a terrible, terrible fear that.
Health. It was health. Next time is relationships.
That's what I mean. Health. Sorry. Thank you. Health. We did health, but it was Marie, right? I got one right. Whatever. And she has had cancer twice. So she stood at the front of the room with me, and we looked to go 0 is no pulse at all. Like, nope. This isn't bothering me. It's not going to bother me at all. So when I talked to her on 0 to 10, I said, I'm afraid I'm going to have cancer again. She said the statement out loud. She was up here with me. And it was a 10. It was a 15. And so we did a very negative, did the tapping and everything else, afraid of having it again. Every waking moment is, I'm going to have it again, because she's had it twice. It wasn't once. She had it twice, so it came back. So why couldn't it come back again? So 8 years she hasn't had cancer. She's living that way for 8 years. And we changed it from a 10 plus to a 3. Why is that important? Because the laws of the universe are whatever you resist persists. So if you're like, I'm going to have cancer, 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 there comes your cancer has this place to come. Law of cause and effect. Whatever you resist persists. So you walk into the room, your family, your best friends, or whatever else, you walk in and you go, I wonder why Sheila's in a bad mood. I wonder what happened to Harriet. We look at body language and everything else. We know these things. We know these things. And yet when somebody else has taught us something, We go, well, probably not. I'm probably not right about that. Go with your intuition. We're so seldom in touch with our intuition that we don't trust it. Law of cause and effect. Resist, resist. So Marie's, tapping. And Norman Vincent Peale said, you got to have a positive attitude. No, you don't. You need to get the crap out first. You need to talk to your crap first. I've lived my way that whole life. I've lived my way that whole life. I've lived my way that. I've lived my way that. And you get it out. So your Sheila knows that you're talking to her and that you love her and you trust her. And you're getting there. And then you say, I wonder what it would be like if I looked at this differently. I wonder what that would be like. So if that still small voice is really inside of you, and that really beautiful, intuitive self is there, the intelligence of the world is there, who do you think is going to help figure this out? The person who knows you best. So you learn this, and you unlearn, so you can learn what works in your own life. And it is transformational. I teach this to little bitty tiny kids. Oh, they get that really fast. This feels different. I really like this. This is really good. This feels different. I'm not so mad at my mom anymore. This is really good. We do it on teddy bears and stuff like that. Transformers are hard. They hurt. But we do them on Transformers and stuff. You can do this for yourself. You learn this from the people who gave you food and water. Without that, you would have died. That's why they were so important to you. You took in it hook, line, and sinker, because if you didn't, there was no love, there were no blankies, there were no food. It was fear-based learning. And now that you're a grown-up, you don't have to be afraid. But you learned it well. Were there joyous times? Of course there were joyous times. There were wonderful times. But if you didn't do what they told you to do, there were consequences. And they were bad ones. And for the man that I talked to yesterday, he lost his dad because he was a bad boy. Had nothing to do with his mom. It had everything to do with him. And it's cumulative. It's cumulative. It's cumulative. I lost my mom my dad because I was a bad boy. Oh, men probably aren't very safe. Gee, sex is really hard. There's not enough money. I'm going to have to live in a basement the rest of my life. Now he's a director of a major clinic. And he's got all the money he needs in that budget. He's smart and everything else, and he can't do the mission and vision because he's 6. So we tapped. I am ballsy as all get out. I tapped with a prospect. I tapped. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to do Sheila's tap. Okay? And so I've always done it that way. Even though I've always done it that way. I just want you to repeat after me. Even though I've always done it that way. I accept who I am and how I feel.
I accept who I am and how I feel.
And even though I've always done it that way, I accept who I am and how I feel.
I accept who I am and how I feel.
And even though I've always done it that way,
And even though I've always done it that way,
I accept who I am and how I feel.
I accept who I am and how I feel.
Eyebrow. I've always done it that way.
I've always done it.
Side of the eye. You know what? I've always done it that way. I've done it that way. I've done it that way.
I've done it that way.
I've always done it that way.
I've always done it that way.
I've always done it that way. Don't mess with me. I've always done it that way.
Don't mess with me. I've always done it that way.
I've always done it that way. Okay, take a breath. Let's try it this way. I've always done it that way. I wonder if there's a different way of doing this. I wonder if I'm open to that. I don't think I am. I think it'll be too hard. Because I've always done it this way. but it's not working. It's just not working. It's really not working. I wonder if there's a new way of doing this. I bet there is. I bet there is. I'm going to be open to that. I'm going to watch for some signs of that. I bet it'll be okay. I'm going to say that it's going to be okay. Deep breath. Take a deep breath. Just bring it in. Your pineal gland is up here, and this is where all your stuff comes. This is all the metaphysical woo-woo stuff, whether you believe it or not. I know this to be true. And then here's your thymus here, and your thymus takes in all this stuff from, around you and whatever, and everything is energy. If you look at a microscope, nothing is connected. This is not connected. It looks like a chair, that's your perception of a chair. So you think, I'm taking you a long way right now. I'm taking you in an hour, a very fast place from your very conservative world around here. And no, this is not against any church teachings, by the way, to a place where you get to understand that you are an amazing vessel carrying a very provocative, brilliant entity around called you. And if you don't believe that, it's because you took it on differently. Now, let's look at Jesus Christ for a minute. I don't know any Jesus believers in here. He's always been a really good friend of mine. Christ concept, that's what we'll call it. If you look at the Christ concept and the representation called Jesus Christ, and you look at the pictures, you very rarely see him in a picture, in a group picture. Why is that? Because he was always stepping out to go back to source. He was getting filled up. Dalai Lama meditates for 4 hours a day. It's not because Dalai Lama doesn't know how to meditate, but he is the spiritual leader for freedom and peace in the world. You look at Thoreau, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Emily Dickinson. You look at Rumi from the 12th century. You look at all of these people who wrote these things down, and they went with themselves. They tithed this time to themselves and got to know what was there. And even now you look at some people that you know and you go, wow, how do they do that? Because there's a certain peace and joy about them. You have that. And why you have little access to it is because you've always done it that way. And I lovingly thank you for saying what you did, because you stayed right here. You didn't Natalie's an idiot. You stayed right with it, and I'm really proud of you for doing that. Because in receiving things, there has been a catch for you in your life. And there's no catch here. You have $4,200 to spend any way you want to. Now, I believe that that's real money. I believe that it's real. I'm not sure how much we gave out today, but I went to the computer and, printed it and cut it out and everything else. Because if there's enough rug fibers here, why wouldn't there be enough money? And why do you say that it only has to come in 20s and hundreds and things like that? Why can't that be that? So if you would just pick up your money for a minute, in your one hand that you're not tapping with, and start in your eyebrow. What if this is real money? What if this is real money? What if this is real money? I'm saying that it's not. Natalie's an idiot. She's living in a fantasy world. But I really want to believe her. What if this was real money? What if I could do whatever I wanted to do with this money? What if I could? I'm going to just take that for a minute and believe that I have this money. And I'm going to carry it around with me for at least a week, or put it on my mirror, or in my wallet, or with my debit card, wherever I look the most with my phone. And every time I look at it, I'm going to say, thank you for my $600. Thank you for my $4,200.
Thank you for my $4,200.
Thank you for my $1,800. Did you get $1,800? Yeah, $1,800. $1,200. Thank you for my money. What if this is real? Deep breath. So, in doing vision boards and visualizations and affirmations and all of that, that's exactly what people do. They take this, they got a vision board and they put, I need $600 a month for something, and I want a new car, and I want a new wheelbarrow. I want a new wheelbarrow, and put those things on there. And every day they look at them and I love that new wheelbarrow of mine. Love it. As if it's already happened. I love that. I love that. Because when you raise your vibration, it's not like I've always done it that way. You don't have to always do it that way. Then you're in touch with this still small voice, and you're reconnected to what's possible. You can do it during meditation. You can do it during prayer. You can do it anytime you want to. I have a card. It's probably with my phone, that says, I am so happy and grateful now that NMA, Natalie Manor and Associates, is lucrative to the point where I can be happy and dance about my prosperity. Because I'm very joyful about that. I'm not going to worry about it anymore. I've never been homeless, thank you God. I've never been hungry, really hungry. Without food hungry. I've never been without friends when I've reached out. I have been abandoned. I have been abused. I've been sexually abused. I've been betrayed. Been all of those things, all the things that you have. And instead of making that my theme of my life, the theme of my life is this. I learned, and I want to share it with you. And there's one reason why I want to do that. And you can take it or not take it. And I do it because I love you. I do it because I love you. How can you love me, Natalie? I just do. It's a privilege and honor to be here for the time that I get to meet you and the time I get to spend with you. And to love you. Because you don't see what I see. And I want you to see what I see. You're stunning. You're absolutely stunning. EFT didn't change my life. It saved my life. Saved my life. So the last thing is, I put this together. No catch. Not selling anything. Oh, you can buy something if you want to, but I'm not selling anything. And these are the affirmations for you. And then the money and abundance affirmations. And you just take them and put them on your mirror or carry them with you. But don't do your affirmations unless you're ready to receive the change. If you're going to do it the way you've always done it, like, my abundance flows easily into my life in surprising and miraculous ways, don't do it. Just take it and rip it up and throw it away. Don't do it. But if you really want to shift and be in your stunning magic, this beautiful person that I see, take a deep breath and go, abundance easily flows into my life in surprising and miraculous ways. And your interior part of you goes, that's great, because that's how she feels about Christmas and birthdays and manure and compost. She got all excited about that. And I have more compost than you could stick at. Because I have no negativity around it. I can find compost anywhere. I didn't know you could do the same thing with money. So now I get all excited about money when my mortgage bill comes in. I go, yes, that's so nice. I love my home. Raise your energy. Because what happens when you have positive energy? People go, you look good today. What are you doing? You look in the mirror. You spizzulated. So don't just read those. And then on the bottom there's resources. My EFT for women, there's nothing for sale on my website. This is for women all over the world. Just go. There's 4 audios there, there's blogs and everything else. This is my gift to you. I want you to know about this. There's also more where EFT came from if you need to have that kind of history. Carol Look, EFT Master, is my original teacher. Just put her in your browser and it'll come up. She's lovely. She has a lot of things for sale, but they're all good stuff. And then there's Margaret Lynch. She's sort of the kick you in the fanny kind of person on EFT. She's tough. So if you need somebody more gentle, go to EFT for Women and Carol Look. But if you're ready to go to YouTube and go to her website, and Carol and Margaret Lynch both have videos on YouTube. So you don't have to spend a cent. You can just do it. But if you decide that you really are prosperous, go buy something from these people. They're wonderful. And listen to them. But YouTube, you could just go wherever where you need to go and watch that or listen to the audios. There's great love for you here. There's great abundance for you here. I would like you to stop resisting your abundance. That is my prayer for you. I love you. Thank you very much.